The Dissolution Nakshatras, Part 1. Krittika Nakshatra 2060-40 Aries 10 degrees Taurus, ruled by Sun. Symbol razor flame, ruling deity fire god. Element fire, gender female. Krittika embodies the power of purification through cutting. Its role in the cosmic cycle is to dissolve what is impure, unclear, or obstructive with precision, fire, and unapologetic clarity. As a dissolution nakshatra, Krittika severs illusions, trims excess, and refines identity or systems by stripping them down to truth. It doesn't heal through softness, but through discernment, heat, and elimination. When placed in the 3rd, 6th, or 10th houses, Krittika ignites sharp skill, moral confrontation, and public purification. Krittika in 3rd house, Aquarius or Pisces rising. In the 3rd, Krittika sharpens speech, intellect, and skill sets into tools for truth cutting. These natives are verbal purifiers, using words, writing, or hand-based talents to reveal what is false or dysfunctional. Sun or Mars here produces incisive communicators, debaters, whistleblowers, or precision-based artisans. Mercury gives technical prowess, editors, coders, and reformers in communication industries. Moon or Venus brings emotion or aesthetics into sharp messaging. Truth-telling poets, confrontational therapists, or artists who expose hypocrisy through form. Krittika in the 3rd maintains skill and dialogue by cutting through confusion and revealing clarity in thought and expression. Krittika in 6th house, Sagittarius or Scorpio rising. In the 6th house, Krittika becomes a karmic surgeon, destroying inefficiency, illness, or injustice in daily life and service systems. These individuals are often tough healers, warriors for discipline, or agents of moral hygiene. Sun or Mars in Krittika here creates firebrand reformers, legal critics, emergency responders, or military medics. Mercury sharpens critical analysis, diagnosticians, forensic experts, or wellness debunkers. Venus or Moon may bring intensity in caregiving roles, therapists specializing in shame, anger, or abuse healing. Saturn adds karmic grit, those who serve by maintaining clean, energetic, or ethical lines in bureaucracy. Krittika in the 6th maintains integrity by burning away dysfunction in service structures and personal discipline. Krittika in 10th house, Cancer or Leo rising. In the public sphere, Krittika manifests as a sharp-edged leader, reformist, or institutional purifier. These natives are seen as bold, truth-driven, and exacting in their expectations. Sun or Mars in the 10th gives powerful visibility, activists, CEOs, government critics, or organizational fixers. Mercury brings strategic reform, public intellectuals, policy editors, or system overhauling advisors. Venus or Moon adds public emotional impact, figures who confront injustice through art, film, or healing professions. Saturn lends lasting influence, those who refine legacies or lead institutional reboots. Krittika in the 10th maintains society by holding public structures accountable and applying heat where cleansing is required. The Dissolution Nakshatras Ardra Nakshatra, 6D40 to 20Ds Gemini, ruled by Rahu. Symbol teardrop storm, ruling deity Rudra, fierce form of Shiva, element water, gender neuter. Ardra is the storm of awakening, a nakshatra of emotional turbulence, intellectual disruption, and psychological disintegration. It dissolves comfort zones through confrontation and catharsis, forcing clarity through chaos. Ardra doesn't soften, it shatters. Governed by Rahu and ruled by Rudra, its sacred purpose is to challenge illusions and dismantle old narratives so evolution can occur. In angular houses like the 3rd, 6th, and 10th, Ardra gives rise to agents of rupture, truth surgeons, storm speakers, and social questioners who provoke reform. Ardra in 3rd house, Aries rising. In the 3rd house, Ardra lends the native a penetrating voice, relentless curiosity, and intense communication style. These individuals dissolve denial through speech, cutting through sentiment with intellectual force. Mercury or Rahu here produces intense writers, truth-based educators, or digital provocateurs. Mars or Sun intensifies expression, activist journalists, courtroom debaters, or harsh critics in media and publishing. Moon or Venus adds emotion to the storm, trauma-informed communicators, spoken word performers, or grief educators. Ardra in the 3rd maintains mental evolution by tearing apart superficial language and introducing raw, healing truth. Ardra in 6th house, Capricorn rising. Here, Ardra becomes a reformer within broken systems, challenging disease, dysfunction, and injustice with strategic precision. The native may confront mental health taboos, workplace toxicity, or societal neglect. Mercury or Rahu in this position gives disruptive problem solvers, researchers in psychological health, controversial coaches, or organizational troubleshooters. Mars lends fight, whistleblowers, warrior healers, or medical reformers. Moon and Venus bring compassion, therapists who hold space for emotional release, or caretakers specializing in trauma recovery. Saturn ensures long-term restructuring, karmic adjusters in bureaucratic, legal, or institutional ecosystems. Ardra in the 6th maintains service by forcing the healing of buried wounds through confrontation. Ardra in 10th house, Virgo rising. At the peak of public life, Ardra becomes a social disruptor, radical educator, or karmic communicator whose role is to awaken the collective. The native often achieves visibility by addressing taboo, mental health, or suppressed truths. Mercury or Rahu here creates public educators who challenge norms, digital truth activists, cultural critics, or thought revolutionaries. Mars or Sun gives institutional challengers, those leading movements in mental wellness, environmental collapse, or social grief. Moon or Venus adds catharsis, storytellers, filmmakers, or artists who expose shadow realities. Saturn brings structure to disruption, those building sustainable platforms for emotional deconstruction and policy change. Ardra in the 10th maintains collective consciousness by shattering illusions that block truth and growth. The Dissolution Nakshatras, Part 3. Ashlesha Nakshatra, 16D 40 30 degrees Cancer, ruled by Mercury. Symbol, serpent, coiled snake. Ruling deity, Nagas, serpent beings, element water, gender female. Ashlesha represents dissolution through entanglement, psychological unraveling, and karmic decoding. It deals with hidden motives, emotional manipulation, ancestral binding, and energetic toxins. Its purpose is to dissolve attachment to illusions by exposing what's underneath. The serpent imagery speaks to both wisdom and danger. It can heal or hypnotize. Ashlesha's maintenance comes through purification of emotional poison, often in the shadows. In angular houses, 3rd, 6th, or 10th, it creates deep communicators, energetic reformers, and power disassemblers who navigate psychic or emotional undercurrents with strategic intelligence. Ashlesha in 3rd house, Taurus rising. With Ashlesha in the 3rd house, speech, thought, and interaction become vessels for psychological unraveling or decoding. These natives can charm, manipulate, or psychoanalyze through language. Mercury or Moon here makes for deep empaths or emotional linguists, those who write or speak with healing venom, grief writers, dream analysts, or trauma-informed coaches. Venus lends allure, tantric communicators, intimacy advisors, or subtle creative therapists. Mars adds intensity, debate specialists, legal interrogators, or strategic messengers. Saturn sharpens control, ritual educators, karmic historians, or system decoders. Ashlesha in the 3rd maintains relational and mental balance by dissolving hidden patterns through layered communication. Ashlesha in 6th house, Aquarius rising. Here, Ashlesha works as the subtle surgeon of dysfunction, detoxifying unhealthy environments, contracts, and mind-body systems. These natives intuit the root of disease, emotional, spiritual, or interpersonal. Mercury or Moon in this position produces psychological healers, therapists skilled in addiction work, or chronic illness counselors. Mars brings fierce karmic intervention, shadow workers, legal detoxers, or enforcers of invisible justice. Venus adds soft mysticism, ritual-based therapists, inner child healers, or creative emotional purgers. Saturn manifests as a karmic purifier, those who hold space for decay, spiritual cleansing, and emotional accountability in workspaces. Ashlesha in the 6th maintains systemic hygiene by drawing out toxicity through emotional and energetic decoding. Ashlesha in 10th house, Ashlesha at the career summit places the native in roles where emotional intelligence, karmic insight, or ancestral patterns must be managed or transformed publicly. This is the snake priestess, the tantric CEO, the politician with hidden leverage. Mercury or Moon here brings visible healers of karmic patterns, emotional influencers, mystic guides, or therapists with mass reach. Venus adds enchanting visibility, public artists or performers using sensuality or nostalgia. Mars pushes boundaries, strategic leaders, sexual reformers, or psycho-spiritual warriors. Saturn grants institutional power, energetic auditors, karmic policymakers, or legacy cleaners. Ashlesha in the 10th maintains societal balance by exposing and transforming the invisible energies that govern public life. The Dissolution Nakshatras, Part 4. Uttara Phalguni Nakshatra, 26 Grigri 40 Leo, 10 Virgo, ruled by Sun, symbol bed hammock, ruling deity Aryaman, god of contracts and social duty, element fire, gender female. Uttara Phalguni dissolves imbalance and false loyalty by realigning commitments and rectifying dysfunctional contracts, emotional, social, or karmic. Though outwardly warm, this nakshatra carries the sacred fire of dissolution through structure. It aims to clear stagnant ties, uphold dharma, and purify relational entanglements. Governed by the sun and located in both regal Leo and service-driven Virgo, it walks the line between heart-centered bonds and ethical service. In angular houses, ascendant, 3rd, 6th, or 10th, it produces reformers of relationships, caretakers of moral order, and dissolvers of false obligations. Uttara Phalguni in ascendant, Leo or Virgo rising. As an ascendant nakshatra, Uttara Phalguni shapes an identity grounded in responsible warmth. These natives project dependability, loyalty, and structured generosity. However, their path involves dissolving self-neglect, masked as duty, and learning when to walk away from draining bonds. Sun or Mercury here grants radiant reformers, natural leaders in service roles, or mentors committed to realigning values. Venus or Moon brings charm and discernment, relationship healers, nonprofit founders, or ethical consultants. Mars grants righteous detachment, legal advisors, karmic contract enforcers, or bold coaches. Saturn builds legacy, slow reformers who preserve dharma by unbinding outdated roles. Uttara Phalguni rising maintains identity by clearing emotional contracts that no longer serve purpose. Uttara Phalguni in 3rd house, Gemini or Cancer rising. Here, Uttara Phalguni expresses itself through ethical communication, loyal messaging, and relational truth-telling. These individuals refine words like contracts, binding when needed, severing when misused. Mercury or Sun brings articulate reformers, mediators, contract writers, or service educators. Moon adds emotional intelligence, those who communicate commitment, detachment, or care through poetic realism. Venus creates art from responsibility. Designers, lyricists, or advisors working around family legacy or reconciliation. Mars adds strategic edge, social activists, ethical marketers, or dispute handlers. Uttara Phalguni in the 3rd dissolves shallow narratives by introducing clarity, loyalty, and dignified boundaries in speech. Uttara Phalguni in 6th house, Pisces or Aries rising. In the 6th, this nakshatra performs dharmic cleanup. The individual confronts unfair obligations, unequal relationships, or service burnout with moral rigor. Sun or Mars makes karmic rectifiers, lawyers, reform doctors, or advocates against exploitation. Moon and Venus offer emotional fairness, therapists, client advocates, or healers dealing with self-worth. Mercury structures healing, writers of ethical codes, policy drafters for just workspaces, or process-oriented coaches. Saturn gives reform durability, those who dissolve toxicity in caregiving roles or traditional service hierarchies. Uttara Phalguni in the 6th maintains health and dignity by breaking contracts of dependency or unfair sacrifice. Uttara Phalguni in 10th house, Scorpio or Sagittarius rising. At the career peak, this nakshatra expresses visible loyalty, structured leadership, and karmic accountability. These individuals are public figures in service, but not servitude. They dissolve power abuses while honoring authentic commitments. Sun or Mercury makes public advisors, HR heads, elder care leaders, or ethical strategists. Moon adds visible empathy, leaders in wellness, mentorship, or sustainable healing. Venus enhances harmony, partnership-oriented CEOs, arts-based reformers, or marriage counselors. Mars brings correctional clarity, corporate truth speakers, dharma enforcers, or spiritual contract keepers. Saturn imparts legacy, social architects, institutional caretakers, or builders of long-standing public trust. Uttara Phalguni in the 10th maintains social order by dissolving false leadership and reestablishing integrity-based authority. The Dissolution Nakshatras, Part 5. Swati Nakshatra, 60s 40 to 20 degrees Libra, ruled by Rahu. Symbol, coral sword in the wind, ruling deity Vayu, wind god. Element, air, gender, female. Swati represents dissolution through decentralization, detachment, and liberation. It is the wind that moves through fixed structures, not to destroy in anger, but to loosen bondage, uproot stagnation, and dissolve codependence. As a Rahu-ruled nakshatra, Swati's power lies in individualization, the ability to disentangle identity from inherited patterns, contracts, and expectations. It teaches how to stand alone while still contributing to the greater order. In angular houses, ascendant, third, sixth, or 10th, it creates boundary breakers, value questioners, and subtle reformers who create space by first clearing the clutter. Swati in ascendant. When Swati rises, the self is marked by charm, flexibility, and a deep inner pull toward freedom within harmony. These natives appear socially adept and independent, but they often struggle with identity enmeshment and people-pleasing early in life. Rahu here gives a karmic mission of detachment from external validation and dissolution of inherited social scripts. Venus enhances graceful individuality, freelance creatives, brand architects, or those who break molds in art and relationship. Mercury gives persuasive intelligence, lawyers, diplomats, or strategic disruptors. Moon adds emotional independence masked by softness, empathic guides who eventually learn to self-contain. Swati rising maintains identity by dissolving dependence and establishing graceful sovereignty. Swati in third house, Leo rising. Here, Swati dissolves rigid communication styles, inherited thought patterns, and identity formed around shoulds. These individuals free others through speech, writing, or movement, liberating voices and ideas from systems of shame or conformity. Mercury or Rahu here births radical communicators, digital nomads, trend-setting influencers, or those who speak against normativity. Venus or Moon adds emotional artistry, poets, gender-fluid creators, or therapists exploring relational autonomy. Mars brings cutting articulation, debate coaches, policy advocates, or outspoken reformers. Swati in the third house maintains relational and intellectual evolution by dissolving false narratives and liberating self-expression. Swati in sixth house, Taurus rising. Swati in the sixth brings lightness and reform into the burdened terrain of service, health, and conflict. These natives often find themselves needing to detach from servitude and codependency while reforming the work or healing systems they're in. Venus or Moon in this house makes empathic caregivers who must learn emotional boundaries, massage therapists, nurse advocates, or inner child integration coaches. Mercury or Rahu offers innovative problem solvers, those who create freedom-focused protocols or legal reformers focused on individual rights. Mars helps fight softly, employment rights activists or advocates for flexible work models. Swati in the sixth dissolves control-based dynamics and restores autonomy to service, health, and justice. Swati in 10th house, Capricorn rising. In the public sphere, Swati expresses non-conforming leadership, karmic rebranding, and decentralization of power. These individuals are seen as diplomatic yet detached, graceful but hard to pin down. They often guide institutions or audiences toward new value systems without shouting. Venus or Moon makes aesthetic rebels, public image consultants, emotionally intelligent leaders, or artists with social edge. Mercury gives platform-based reform, tech diplomats, brand evolution specialists, or NGO communicators. Mars lends quiet force, civic disruptors, human rights tacticians, or liberators working within legal or corporate systems. Rahu gives visionary thrust, those who introduce wind into the stone halls of tradition. Swati in the 10th maintains relevance and public balance by dissolving outdated frameworks and introducing ethical adaptability.